last time, but I thought I did, motherfucker. All right. Hey, YouTube, Scumpad from Scumpad's Domain. I thought I did this before. No, we're back. We're back, baby. And what we're doing tonight is a James Bond film, not part of the franchise, but nevertheless, a James Bond film. Never Say Never Again. About 12 years after Sean Connery left the role for good, so he said, in Diamonds Are Forever, he's back with a vengeance. And this time, he's in a movie that's based on the only thing they could film, Thunderball. So this movie was based on Thunderball. Kevin McClory, who owned the rights only to Thunderball, was in litigation for a long time. We kind of refilmed it, jiggered it around a little bit to kind of update it, and then managed to get Sean Connery back. So this came out in 1983, same year as Octopussy. I think the budget was 37 million, and it made something like 160 million at the box office. Not quite as much as what Octopussy took in that year, but pretty close. Sean Connery was actually 3 years younger than Roger Moore was in that movie. And this movie brings back Blofeld and Spectre because they owned it. And it's the plot similar to what they did in Thunderball of stealing some nuclear warheads to extort the West into giving them money. And in this movie, they use a brother of Kim Basinger, who's the Bond girl in this movie, to kind of infiltrate in and help steal these. Along the way, we get Barbara Carrera as Fatima Blush, the insane, psychotic hit girl, who's really good in this movie. We get some new actors playing M and Q, and we'll talk about all that with my bud, who is sticking around even though we probably did this one too many times. Dylan, how you doing, Dylan?
What up, dude?
First time watching Never Say Never Again. We knew we'd get here, and we had planned to do this as part of kind of like the James Bond franchise, even though it's an offshoot movie, but it kind of fits right in. I really enjoyed this movie. I think Sean Connery did not miss a step. He slips right back into the role of James Bond like he never really left it. It kind of follows a similar beats as Thunderball, where they start off in that health club where he's trying to get back into shape of being 007. Some great scenes there. Of course, he's betting women and fighting bad guys. That's where he finds the plot out, the Spectre, and finds Barbara Carrera screwing around the brother of Kim Basinger. I love all the scenes in that. I love that fight they had with the big guy there, where he's going through the kitchen, he's wrecking a joint, finally takes him down with his piss because James Bond's got strong pee. And that was a great scene. There's some really good scenes in the movie. What did you think of this movie? I know this is your first time watching it, of course.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've had a blast with all these Bond movies so far, and I definitely did enjoy this one. I don't know if I'd say it's my least favorite. It's definitely one of the weaker ones though. But it was great to see Connery come back and literally just feel like he never dropped the suit, man. Like he stepped right back into the role like nothing ever happened, like it hasn't been, a few years. So yeah, it was just great to see Connery. There's a few things missing, because obviously it's done by a different studio. And
no music,
classic
no titles.
theme, you're missing a few of the classic things, but all in all, we're there to see Connery play Bond again, and he does it to perfection. And it was definitely fun seeing a little bit of a salt and peppered version of Bond and the OG come back to, you know, play it one more time. So it's definitely enjoyable. And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I think what
glad
you
we watched it.
yeah, your reaction is similar to mine when I saw this in the theater for the first time. I thought I enjoyed it, but I missed a lot of the elements that were in the other James Bond movies. And the thing is, back then we had a few years of Roger Moore, and we were coming off of Moonraker and Octopussy and For Your Eyes Only, and those movies had shifted, because Roger Moore is a different Bond. He's not Sean Connery. He's not taking everything super serious. They don't even write him that way. So this movie was kind of a refreshing change of pace back to like the older Bond flicks that didn't have as much humor, were fun and enjoyable to watch. But I
Right.
think I found an appreciation more for this movie as time went on, and I really, really thought it was a pretty solid entry. It's got some great scenes. Obviously, we got some good performances by Max von Sydow in his brief role as Blofeld with the cat. He's holding that cat tight. And then we got Klaus Maria Brandauer as Largo, who's kind of a good mix of like psychotic and low key. Kim Basinger is okay as the girl. I love Barbara Carrera as Fatima Blush. I think all her scenes really elevate, the film. When Bond's chasing her and he has that final showdown with her, where he kills her. Um, they have that homage where they put the girl in the waterbed, kind of like what happened in kind of like I think it was another movie that happened in. I forget which one it is, but yeah, I really enjoyed
Kills
it.
got pretty graphic too. There's a couple kills that were really graphic
Yeah, and I think
for a Bond movie, at least.
the sex scenes in this were a step up from the Bond movies too, because I think the Bond movies, the Roger Moore ones, kind of had more kidified. They wanted to bring in teenagers. This one they had a little bit more adult sex in this. Even though you weren't seeing massive boobies on the screen, Bond was back to bedding every woman that he basically met in the movie. Um,
Right.
he comes up after getting dispatched by Fatima there, and he goes back that, well, I told you you'd catch me later. I love that scene where she's planted a bomb. She go in and she puts a bomb under the bed, and then you see them, screwing in the bed there, and the whole townhouse goes up, and he goes, "Oh, that decision was a good what decision? Your place or mine?" Because he blew up the wrong hotel room there. But it was pretty typical that everything they were doing, she was screwing up like every chance to kill the guy.
Right. Yeah, Kim Basinger, young version. She was pretty good in it as well. So
Yeah,
definitely some hot babes in it as always. And I know I was saying to you before, I like that they kept, even though it's a different company, they kept that same style of the poster where it's the art, or the artistic poster where it's like a painting or something. Because I always love the style of all those posters, man. Those are always awesome.
yeah, we had that great scene. I love the scene too. Also, Bond's going into the right before he plays that video game. There, he goes in, he takes the guard out, he hands him his thing, and it ends up being his cigarette case. He goes, "There's little tiny gyros in here. Any movement will explode."
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
comes back at the end. He grabs a cigarette case.
yeah. I wasn't sure about that game scene. I thought that might end up being real cheesy, but that ended up being pretty cool. I actually
Yeah,
enjoyed that a lot. That was really cool.
that was a great
The
sequence. The
graphics,
first
the graphics looked good. It didn't look like crazy dated or
right,
anything.
right.
It just looked
Yeah,
like
the
they were.
first time Bond goes through it, he gets thrown off his seat and electrocuted, but then he comes back and, oh, one more time for the rest of the world. And he ends up, thwarting Largo at it, and Largo's the one that gets electrocuted. So I thought
Yeah.
that was pretty unique and pretty ingenious. Um, trying to think what else I like. Some of the other chase scenes in the movie were pretty good. We didn't get a lot of chase scenes in this. We had really the bike. So a lot. You said it earlier that there was a lot of underwater, and there was a lot of underwater stuff in this.
Yeah, there was quite a lot. I was really surprised. think it was something with the budget because you definitely know there's not nearly as much money as other Bond movies. Because
Well, now they spent 37 million on this.
did they? Wow.
It was up there with the
The
other Bond
set
movies.
designs didn't seem so big. Maybe Connery took a lot bigger pay on
Yeah,
this
I'm sure
one.
Connery took a chunk of it.
Yeah.
But they also went. They had the they went to all these different places too, and I'm sure that cost money. But the movie made 160 million at the box office, so it was a pretty big hit. Because people were interested, and they said directed by Irvin Kershner, who did Empire Strikes Back. Previous, not what 1981, he made Empire. So this was like 2 years after he made Empire. He did this film.
Yeah, well, he did RoboCop 2, I believe.
He directed 2, right?
Yeah. I mean, RoboCop, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. I mean, Sequest.
Yeah, he did some Sequest. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you're a fan of that. That's
Interesting show. Roy Scheider, yeah.
With Roy Scheider, Ted Raimi, so definitely a good one.
And you notice the cinematographer of this was Douglas Slocum, who did a lot of
really?
Spielberg stuff. He did Close Encounters and a bunch of other stuff. So, it had some good people behind the scenes. Who did the music for this? Michael Legrand. So obviously the music was probably the weaker elements of it, and the theme song wasn't all that. It was very dated, I thought. And that's the interesting thing about the Bond movies. Even if you go back to like the '60s, the music really doesn't date all that much. I was gonna say, but this is the first time we've seen Spectre since the earlier series. It was good to see Spectre come back, but really, Spectre did basically the same shit in every movie, so they never really expanded upon the role of Spectre, even in when they get in later on in the movies in the original series. Spectre was just kind of never really did much with it, so I can kind of see why they kind of abandoned it. They renamed the ship in this. It was the Disco Volante in the original, and in this one it was the Flying Saucer. Not the best name. But I was gonna try to see what.
Sorry, bro.
Okay, it said here that Connery got 3 million, so he didn't get a ton of money.
He didn't get nearly as much as I'd have thought. I'd have thought he got like 10 at least.
Yeah, and well, 3 million is 9 million in 2022 dollars. So
right.
So he got a good chunk of change.
I was right on the money.
That's right. So he took a little bit of money, but
not
as much as you could have probably.
Right. Yeah, he's the big one. So.
Yeah, because the rest of the cast were they were names, but they weren't huge names, and Kim Basinger was even huge back in the day. So.
Yep.
I'm sure he was the highest paid guy in the thing.
Yeah. Surprised some of the kills were pretty brutal. The one guy got like all that stuff in his back, and then I'll just say now my favorite kill was the firecracker in that chick's gut, and then boom, I thought that
exploded. And then all you saw was the two shoes sitting there.
Yeah.
And then Felix Leiter comes out and goes, Sean Connery goes, not entirely effective. Because he said it wasn't entirely effective. It blew into smithereens.
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, the Bond kills aren't usually brutal like that. I mean, it wasn't like, for us being horror fans, it's nothing, but I was surprised seeing even that, And so that would be my favorite kill, though, for sure. That's my favorite scene is that chick getting blown up. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that was probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
Bond was like grabbing a handful of that chick's ass too when she was on the massage table, man. I was like, damn. I was like, he's grabbing a handful of them cheeks.
Oh, he definitely was going after the women in this one. You know, he had to make up for lost time.
Exactly.
But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. As you said, it was not the best, but it's hard to judge it against the other ones. And I said, if it had the music and it had the theme and it had some more of the original actors in it, you probably would have bumped it up a little bit more. But in the end, it was a remake of Thunderball that had been changed around a little bit. It had some good scenes. It was nice seeing Sean Connery come back again, but it wasn't something that I watch it every few years. But it's definitely not one of my favorites either. But it's a good middling of the road James Bond movie.
I enjoyed it, and it was
Yeah.
great to see Connery come back. I mean, that's the biggest thing is that
Mm.
we're there for Connery. So, and it's not a terrible story or anything.
No.
Just,
Just that we've seen it before.
yeah, and
We've
just it's missing a few of the classics like the the score and like the classic like music opening and all that.
yeah. But I still think they judge as an old school Bond movie. It fits right in with the other Connery movies. It has enough gadgets in there, but it doesn't really descend into any kind of buffoonery or stuff that we're getting more in the original series.
Yeah.
And you'll even see probably more of it in the next movie that we're going to be doing for Roger Moore. But overall, a decent flick. It did pretty well at the box office, and I enjoyed watching it. But there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just a good, solid movie and a pretty good watch.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed it.
I still like the other Thunderball better, obviously. But
I still like the original Thunderball better because the fight scenes were better. I thought, and maybe it's Irving Kershner, I just thought the underwater stuff just was directed so much better. Sure, maybe it looked a little bit more staged, but it was funner because you had the guys the frogmen going up against each other, and then you had those underwater vehicles you were battling with and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So it just, it just was a. It was back in the 65 that movie came out, so it was still back in the heyday of the 60s.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite Connery movie, but I mean, all of his movies are great. So it's
Yeah, I would think. I think this is up there with the late Connery stuff, like Diamonds Are Forever. Yeah,
like up there with Diamonds Are Forever. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's still enjoyable. It's still got a lot of great stuff going for it. I mean, still is a Bond movie. It's not where it feels like out of place or anything. Like I said, Connery jumps back in it like he never left, and it's definitely an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I think Connery could play James Bond in his sleep. Yeah. But I think he could probably play anything in his sleep because he's a great actor. So
that's for sure.
Yeah, I definitely say my favorite scene in the movie is probably going to be the chase and the killing of Fatima Blush. Like you said, that's a great scene, and the fight scene with the big dude in the rehab. I thought that was a great fight scene.
Yeah.
Probably one of the better fight scenes of a lot of the movies too. It just was done very well. I like to go back and check out the fight scene in Thunderball. Almost said Thunderbirds. Thunderball in the original one because there was a fight scene. Remember, he's in there and the guy locked the guy in the fucking sweatbox and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the fight scene being quite as good as what was in this one. This one was if Connery was getting thrown around the way this guy was thrown around 007, he'd be dead. I mean, he put him through a window and a wall a few times,
Right.
And Connery just shakes it right up, fine. But
yeah, even at that old age. Yeah, when they're in that workout room too, and he's just like pushing the weights down on his throat. I'm like, that would really hurt, man.
Yeah, you get out of that one too.
Yeah.
400 pounds of weights on you.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed it. I wasn't sure. I thought I didn't have really high expectations going in. I was just like, oh well.
Yeah, if I was gonna give it one criticism, it was hit it for something, I would say it's a little long. I think
Yeah,
they could
that
have
would be my
they could have cut about 15 minutes out of it and made it right around 2 hours, and it would have been fine. Some of the maybe cut out some of the Basinger stuff, trim that down a little bit because it was a little long. One of the longer films in the franchise, really. But I guess since Connery hasn't been in them, they wanted to come back with a big one. So we'll see. All right, so that's about all I got to say about Never Say Never Again, a good, competent James Bond movie, and that's what we like here.
without a doubt. Without a
And,
doubt.
and it's good to get it in and work it in as part of the, because I had thought, should we do this after we're done? But it makes more sense to do it here than when we're, after Daniel Craig and whatnot. So it makes sense to do it right in the same year that it came out. So next week or whenever, soon, we'll be doing finally the last film in the Roger Moore era. That's A View to a Kill, 1985's View to a Kill. And then we're going on to a new Bond. So see if you're excited for that, Dylan. What's that? One more?
One more Roger Moore, and then Timothy Dalton, baby.
Then on to Timothy Dalton. So that'll be fun to get to and see how that all comes out. See how Roger Moore winds up his role there. When we do the wrap-up show, I know when we do the wrap-up show and we're wrapping up and we're comparing like the different eras of Bond, and we're gonna say what's our favorite Sean Connery Bond. I guess we should include Never Say Never Again. It's not going to be obviously our favorite, but we should include it in the pool of possible things. And, so maybe it might get best fight scene. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But yeah, so that's all I got to say about Never Say Never Again. Glad we got to this one. I knew it wouldn't probably take too long to get through it, but because
Can't wait to get one more Roger Moore and then go on to Timothy Dalton. Like I said, I've been having a blast with these, man. So
so we're about halfway through. Yeah, so
yeah, it's crazy, man, crazy.
We're moving on. All right, guys. So keep a look out for that. Probably within the next few weeks, we'll be dropping the A View to a Kill. Don't forget, we got DHS coming up every Saturday night. When we're filming this, where we have a
Our six will probably have already just come out.
Which one?
Deep Star 6.
Deep Star 6, yeah. So
What's
look for
coming?
that.
That's the next one. But we just did, what was it? What are we? Texas Chainsaw Massacre double feature. The two remakes, the Jessica Biel one and Jordana Brewster.
Yeah, so we got some good stuff coming up, and I think we'll have some stuff coming up on the side. I think me and Dylan will both be doing the new when Burial Ground gets released on a new 4K, American 4K. We did it for the import, but the American 4K, we'll be doing a review of that disc and how the movie looks, because we know we're big Burial Ground fans. We know that. And so look,
can't wait.
Look for some Burial. That should be coming out sometime in March. Will be the Burial Ground. And we got a bunch of other stuff coming up. So keep an eye out for that. Dylan and I will be doing some Kick watch-alongs. We usually do that a few nights a week. So either go up on Dylan's Kick channel or my Kick channel. We'll be on one of those doing some movies, some watch-alongs. We did Action Jackson not too long ago and a few other movies. And we got some good stuff coming up. We'll be going more obscure, I think, as we go along. So we'll see what happens. So anything else you need to add there, Dylan?
No, not much. Just appreciate coming on and love doing these on Mondays with you, brother. Always fun. Always
fun to watch a little bondage. So
always fun. Bond Monday, baby. Bond Monday.
Whenever it comes out. So but fun.
Well, we watch and review them on Monday.
That's right. All right, guys. Have a good night, day, whatever you watch this. We appreciate you. We'll see you soon for A View to a Kill. Later, man. Peace out, everybody.